I'm Duane Hulbert and welcome to Learn and Love Music. Today we're going to look at the music of Edvard Grieg. His music is connected to the folk culture of Norway, his home. So we're going to look at some solo pieces, some wonderful pieces of music that have to do with dances that he wrote, and we're also going to listen to one of his lyric pieces. Very wonderful, musical, and evocative of Norway. So let's get started. So let's look at some of the music of Edvard Grieg. One of his most endearing pieces are his folk melodies that he wrote, Opus 72. Later in his life, he was asked by a couple of the most famous Norwegian fiddlers to do a piano arrangement of folk tunes from Norway. So Grieg wrote this piece, and it's called Sletter, or Norwegian Peasant Dances. There are about 15 of them in this book. They were first composed in 1901, and then with some work with Ole Bull and some of these other famous fiddlers, he made these transcriptions for piano. One note about Norwegian music: the violin that they use in Norwegian folk music looks like a modern violin, but it has an extra set of strings underneath, and it's quite beautiful. It's called a Hardanger fiddle, and it creates a sound that sounds like a violin plus some extra vibrating strings underneath. There's a lot of clatter to the sound of these folk pieces when they're played on the Hardanger fiddle. So on the piano you'll hear a lot of heavy accents and a lot of clashing notes, and it's really very evocative of Norway. And this first piece I'm going to play it's Opus 72 number 1, the first one in the set, and it is a Norwegian bridal march or dance. This is called Gilboen's Bridal March, and in it we're going to listen to a wedding march from a long ways off. Starts very quietly, very rhythmically, and it gets closer and closer and closer, and then the bride arrives, and then at the end of the piece the march moves away from the wedding event. So let's listen to this piece by Edvard Grieg, Gilboen's Bridal March. was introduced to these Norwegian dances about 30 years ago. I went on a study grant to Oslo, Norway, where I studied at the Norwegian State Academy. I worked with Einar Steen Nøkkelberg. He was a professor there at the Norwegian State Academy and an expert on Grieg. And he taught me a lot about the importance of this music to the culture of Norway. And also, we talked a lot about how to perform these pieces. And one of the things I found interesting is that in some of the dances, rhythm is not kept regular. I'm going to play a Springar, which is it's a faster dance. It's usually a dance that's danced with couples. And the interesting thing about it, in this piece, it's going to be in 3/4 time. Each of the beats are going to have a different length. So I'm going to actually play long, medium, short. So I'm not keeping an even rhythm. So I'm doing long, medium, short, long, medium, short, long, medium, short. So you're going to feel a little bit almost as if you're off balance with this. This is the style that the violinists, the Hardanger fiddle players play with, and also Grieg and all the pianists who play these pieces will do that same kind of offbeat rhythm. So it's a very lively dance. It's done usually with couples. It starts kind of slowly and it builds up, and it's quite almost hypnotic, the rhythm. So let's hear this. This is Jon Vestafes Springar. This is Opus 72, number 2 of Edvard Grieg. The next piece we're going to look at is a Halling. A Halling is a very fast dance, usually done by a male dancer. It's in 2/4 time, and it's a very athletic dance. In this piece, Grieg has taken a piece called Folk Dance from the Hills, or from the Mountains, which would have been the central part of Norway, probably just north of Oslo, sort of in the middle of the country. And it has a very lively dance feel to it. And then at the end of the dance, Grieg has written his own piece of music. He takes the idea of the opening theme and he puts it into a slow version of the dance in a minor key. So I hope you enjoy this Folk Dance from the Hills by Edvard Grieg. for joining us on this Norwegian adventure today. This is a wonderful look into the beauty of Norway. Hopefully you can look up some of the other pieces, including the piano concerto and other works by Grieg, and make sure you check out our companion video. I'm going to be playing another howling piece from the lyrical pieces, Opus 71, and you can enjoy that as well. So I hope to see you next time on Learn and Love Music.